this need, and we are going to be writing as a delegation to the Federal Highway Administration, which is part of the Federal Department of Transportation. We're going to be demanding money to cover all of the costs, probably in the tens of millions of dollars, at least $20 million. And we have every assurance that the Department of Transportation will provide this emergency relief. So none of the cost is borne by Connecticut taxpayers. The Federal Highway Administration has money already appropriated for exactly this kind of purpose, and it's used elsewhere in the country. Connecticut should have its fair share. In the meantime, the real workload burden is going to be borne by the contractors and the Department of Transportation of the state of Connecticut. And as the governor said, if you're in this area, there's no good way to get there from here for right now, and maybe for a little bit of the foreseeable future. There's going to be a lot of trucks trying to find a way around this bottleneck. And of course, the trucks can't use the merit. So they're going to be on local streets. Think Mianus River Bridge and the kind of traffic we saw at that time. Federal money is going to be there to cover the financial costs, but the inconvenience and the other burdens are going to be borne by the people of this area. I live here, so I go to Hartford every day that I'm in Connecticut or on those roads, and I'm going to be trying to accommodate my schedule, for example, leaving a little bit earlier in the morning, say at 6:30 instead of 7:30, and as I did this morning, there was no traffic. I can tell you that there are ways around it, but just be advised that there's going to be a little bit extra inconvenience. Thanks.
Yep, good afternoon. So, Connecticut Department of Transportation, working with the contractor on scene, Yonkers Construction, is currently in the midst of demolishing the existing bridge that is out there, bridge number 55. Quite a lot of work has been done in just the past few hours. Once the concrete is removed from the structure, we have equipment on the way, large shears that will be able to remove the actual beams from the bridge. Once that is completed, we will then begin to remove debris, and then we will be able to resurface the roadway, hopefully opening up in time for rush hour morning traffic Monday morning. Do want to thank all the first responders, law enforcement who have been providing traffic control to allow us to do our work. But my request to the public would be to please be patient. We have seen instances of people getting frustrated with the queues of traffic, trying to get around those crews, actually entering into our work zones, putting contractors and DOT workers at risk. So need people to be patient, try and avoid the area, and encourage people to take the train into Norwalk to visit some of the restaurants and bars if you can, patronize the businesses who might be impacted. With that, I'll turn it back to the governor or the mayor.
Sir, can you identify yourself really quick? Can you identify yourself?
Yes, Garrett Euclideo, I'm the Commissioner of the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
Governor? Any questions?
Commissioner, a couple of questions. The state of the road, I-95, do you have to do a lot of milling and repaving there?
So we can't entirely inspect it until the demolition is complete. We think we'll just have to do a little milling and resurfacing on at least one of the sides. Yes,
you
that
spoke
should.
Yesterday about the pier in the middle that holds the thing up.
Yeah.
Have your engineers been able to take a look at it? Do you know if you're going to be able to reuse that?
We won't be able to reuse the pier. We're right now determining whether we will take it down in the next couple days or wait until the full reconstruction to take it down.
Okay, and a number of us have done stories north and south at this point. Connecticut being innovative with the use of ABC, the accelerated bridge construction. Is this a candidate for ABC replacement?
It doesn't make sense to do it in this location because to do an ABC project, accelerated bridge construction project, you need some laydown area to build the spans to be able to roll it into place. This area is very developed. There's no real location to be able to build on site and roll it in. But we don't expect disruption during the full rebuild. It could be like any other highway project where we would just take a lane on either side to put the beams in place, and then once the beams are in place, our construction administrator has a lot of experience in this front, then the work occurs above the roadway once that's done.
And finally, when you reopen the road on Monday, do you anticipate having all travel lanes open, or do you think there will be some lane closures?
Our goal is all the travel lanes.
And what about, are you keeping an eye on the weather? I understand Sunday or maybe some rain. Do you think that might be a factor?
Yeah, that is the one factor we're keeping an eye on. Repaving during extreme wet weather is not possible. So we're just going to wait and see what that weather looks like. But our goal is still to have everything open Monday morning.
How long did that reconstruction process take?
The hard part is doing demolition. So once that's done and we have a blank slate, it can take a little over a year, is the goal.
The fact that this bridge is less than 10 years old, you basically still have the plans, and it's just redoing the same bridge?
We do have all the plans, but we are going to look at the load ratings because federal requirements change over time. So there have been changes in some of the federal requirements on load ratings since that bridge was, the design plans were finalized in 2011 to now. So we're going to need to wait and see what those changes have been.
Mayor Billing, your thoughts about Fairfield Avenue being closed for a year?
Well, it is what it is. We have to live with it. It's not ideal, but we understand that. It was closed before when they were reconstructing the bridge 8 years ago, and it'll be a little bit of an inconvenience. And as you heard the commissioner and the mayor, the governor, and the senators talk about driving around Norwalk, it's going to be an inconvenience that we're going to have to deal with.
Regarding the crash, is there an update on the investigation? Who's responsible? If they will be held accountable?
State Police did that investigation, yesterday morning, and we'll get the results of that very soon, but nothing to report yet.
And I might just say, we're looking into on the economic effects of businesses. This could be a real hardship for some of the businesses. We're looking at the possibility of loans that might be available, obviously at minimal interest, from either FEMA or the SBA. We're exploring that possibility. In disaster cases where there have been economic impacts of natural disasters, often those kinds of loans are available. We're looking into the possibility that here some of these businesses may be impacted and there may be loans at minimal cost to them.
Commissioner, in the last 10 years since that bridge was rebuilt, has a lot changed in terms of bridge construction, technology, use of computer-aided design?
There have been quite a lot of advances there, things such as what's called a digital twin, where you have a digital 3D model of what you're going to be building. That's something that is now being heavily utilized in the state DOT world. Also use of drones on the before you go to the construction side. In this instance, a lot of those may not be necessary because we've already advanced quite a bit in this process where we have some designs already. We're going to dust those off, see what needs to be updated. But the hope is that advances since the last designs were finished in 2011, it might be a little bit easier.
When is that big piece of equipment going to come in to remove the bridge?
Yeah, so we'll have a couple, they're called shears, to be able to cut the beams. Those are on their way right now, and they should be arriving this afternoon, and then should begin their work tomorrow morning to begin, once everything's removed from the bridge and the beams can begin to be cut down early tomorrow morning is the hope. So.
Do you know where they're coming from? Or?
New York, Long Island. So.
Besides Yonkers, are there other contractors involved too?
We do have contractors working with Yonkers, like AI. Who else, John?
Breeze is the subcontractor.
Breeze is a subcontractor from New York. So.
The shears, how long is that time frame are you expecting that to take, that project apart?
Well, that should only take about 24 hours.
Just thinking now, because we're in an apparatus building, what about the impact of first responders and going to calls for the next year?
You want to take that?
Yeah, there you go. Chief?
Thank you. That's a good question. We've been through this before when they put the bridges up. So as far as an inconvenience, that's exactly what it is, but it doesn't really affect our response. We have bridges on the east side and the west side, and we'll just go around the block. So we could live with it.
As Chief Gatto said, we've coordinated with NOAA Combined Dispatch before with this exact plan, so we'll have no issues at all responding to this side of town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
That was painless.
Where we got all these 100-year-old